Am I the asshole for telling my friend to stop texting me, good morning, every single day? I, 28F, have a friend, 27F, who texts me, good morning, every single day without fail. It was sweet at first, but after months it started to feel like an obligation rather than a genuine check-in. I don't mind occasional messages, but daily texts make me feel pressured to respond when I'm busy. So I politely told her I'd rather not get daily messages anymore. She got upset and now is acting like I'm a jerk for turning down her kindness. I feel guilty but also relieved. Am I the asshole? Nah, a daily good morning text from anyone would make me hate that person. I totally get why you find it an annoying obligation. But for other people, that's a really sweet, thoughtful gesture. Infinite human diversity. You're probably not friends with this girl anymore though. Have you tried leaving her on read? No one is under any obligation to immediately reply to a text. Info. How exactly did you phrase it? Info. Did she expect a reply within a given time frame? Is it truly that much of an obligation to say good morning to a friend every day? You literally just have to reply, good morning. When you go into work, do you not greet your coworkers every day? You are the asshole for rejecting a nicety of life. God forbid you be reminded that someone is thinking of you. Wow, there really is all kind of people out there. I personally would feel blessed to have a friend who even gives a shit about me enough to text me every morning with a good morning, especially if it were a platonic relationship. Sorry this bothers you, but I really don't relate. Am I the asshole for turning off the tumbler dryer and making my housemate go to work with wet clothes? I 21F am in a bit of an argument with my housemate right now and I'm wondering if I'm justified here. For context, I have a chronic illness which causes chronic fatigue. If I don't get enough sleep I feel very unwell, and it makes my pain and other symptoms much worse, as well as just being horribly tired all day. I try not to use earplugs as for reasons I won't get into they cause my ears to get blocked and very painful quite easily. I live in a student house on the bottom floor. I can't manage stairs, so it was the only option for me, across the hall from the tumble dryer. The dryer is loud. It rattles the floor and beeps when it's done until someone, usually me, opens the door or turns it off. It keeps me awake, and if someone puts it on while I'm asleep it's guaranteed to wake me up. Given my condition and just generally needing to not have my sleep interrupted, I asked my housemates not to turn it on after 11 p.m. We all agreed to this arrangement and there were no problems. Recently one of my housemates has been consistently using the tumble dryer late at night. I spoke to him and said if he keeps doing it I will just turn it off after 11 p.m., regardless of if his clothes are dry. This is where I might be the asshole. He put clothes in the dryer at about 2 in the morning and woke me up. I was pissed off and turned the dryer off so I could sleep. When I woke up he had sent me a message saying that because of me he had to go to work with wet, musty smelling clothes. He had only put the dryer on that late at night because he had no other option, and couldn't I have just put up with it for one night? He has done this 3 or 4 times and I didn't complain, so maybe he thought I didn't mind that much? I probably should have spoken to him before I got fed up and just turned it off, but I did warn him that I would turn the dryer off if he did it again. I do feel bad that he had to go to work with damp clothes though. I really don't feel like it was that bad of a thing to do, but he is quite upset with me and wants me to apologize. Am I the asshole? Edit for clarity and because I seem to not have explained some things very well. We do not live in an American-style dorm, student accommodation where there are rules set out by the owner of the complex and you do not choose your housemates. We are privately renting in a group of friends who have known each other before choosing to move in with each other. We all agreed on the rules before moving in together. The 11 p.m. time is a general rule for being quiet across the house. He dried his clothes that late because he was coming in from the club and had forgotten he had work the next day. He has asked us, all housemates, not to use the shower past 11 p.m. for similar reasons. It wakes him up. We all agreed to this and stick to this rule. The dryer sucks and we have spoken to the landlord, but he also sucks, so nothing has been done about it yet. Not the asshole using the dryer at 2 a.m. in a shared living space is unacceptable regardless of whether someone has a chronic illness or not. He can use a clothing rack or whatever it's called to dry his clothes overnight. Not the asshole. Personally, I think putting the dryer, or making any loud noises, at 2 a.m. is just wildly inconsiderate roommate behavior. His lack of preparation in needing to wash his clothes last minute is not your problem. And does this man only own one washing machine's worth of clothes? I had a roommate in a similar position to you, minus the chronic fatigue. She just liked to go out running at 6 a.m. every morning and was an early riser, who tried to tell us not to use the dryer, or make any noise, after 9 p.m. She was a nightmare to live with. You sound very reasonable by comparison. 11 p.m. is totally fair. Not the asshole, and I'm really surprised about all the you are the assholes here. 11 p.m. sounds like a really reasonable quiet time. I've lived in several situations where the agreed quiet time was 10 or 9 p.m. and no one had special health needs. It was just a courtesy agreement when many people are sharing a living space. I don't understand how your flatmate had no other choice. Is he working 16-hour shifts or something? As someone who is chronically disorganized and doing laundry last minute, I have ironed my clothes dry countless times. I suggest he gets an iron and does the same. It works really well. Not the asshole. He agreed to quiet hours. If he can't manage his laundry better, he can get a folding error for his own place. Not the asshole. Where I'm from, it's not legal to use noisy appliances after 10 p.m. and before 6 a.m. Since you only ask they not be used after 11 p.m., you are being more than reasonable. Your housemate can just hang his clothes out to dry on a clothes rack. If you all agreed about the 11 p.m. thing, then not the asshole. Would I be the asshole if I told my mom that her dogs are the only ones not allowed on family vacation? My mom has 2 half Yorkie half Maltese dogs. These dogs are my mom's world. The problem is they are obsessed with food. They will go to any lengths to get human food. It started with a bag of barbecue potatoes chips on my kitchen counter ripped open and devoured, leaving a huge barbecue dust mess. Next was an entire pizza that was snatched off of the table the moment I went to grab sodas from the kitchen. In the span of less than a minute, when I returned, half of the pizza was gone. The dogs were standing in the other half of the pizza and there was pizza sauce all over my carpet. Next, yet together they found their way inside even though I asked my mom to keep them in the backyard. They got into my kitchen and tore open 2 bags of hamburger buns, and ate around $40 worth of seasoned raw hamburger meat and a block of cheddar cheese. At this point I told my mother her dogs were not allowed at my home. She has stopped coming by altogether, which does hurt my feelings because if it's a choice between her kid and the dogs, she will always pick the dogs. I'm planning a family vacation, booked a nice cabin for the whole family to stay in. My sister is bringing her dog, well-behaved female pit, so I know it's going to be an issue when I tell my mom her dogs are not allowed to come with us. I don't want to spend the whole weekend making sure not a single scrap of food is left out for even a second, otherwise her dogs would tear it apart and potentially make a huge mess in the cabin I paid the deposit on. My sister told me to just tell my mom that she has to keep a close eye on her dogs, but I have tried that before and she's proven time and time again that she's either unable or unwilling to control her dog's behavior. Would I be the asshole if I tell my mom her food-crazed dogs are not allowed on family vacation even though another dog will be there? Nope, not the asshole. If your mom is going to insist on her feral destructo mutts being included, she needs to book the accommodations and be responsible for the deposit. Otherwise she's just going to have to be content with staying in the doghouse. Even if she does step up for that, I wouldn't share accommodations with animals that are so out of control. Sorry, not sorry, but I wouldn't tolerate every meal turning into a battle to keep my food. Not the asshole, but your mom is. I get some dogs are incredibly food-driven. I have labs. But you need to up the training to teach them not to get into food. It is incredibly dangerous for the dogs to be eating whatever they like. If your mom can't train them, she needs to employ a professional for the dog's sake. Not the asshole, but info. How are these small dogs getting items from counters and tables? Not the asshole, but you already know your mother won't come with this restriction. She won't come to your home if her dogs aren't welcome. She won't come on vacation if her dogs aren't welcome. It's your mother and your relationship, so you get to choose the hill to die on. Personally, I just not invite her anywhere except brief outings like restaurants where her dogs can't come, if at all. It sounds like she prefers the company of her dogs over people anyway, otherwise she'd train her dogs. And I bet mom would blame everyone else if the dogs ate something dangerous that made them sick or killed them. Info. Crate the dogs when food is in play. Am I the asshole for apologizing to the server for my husband's behavior and not being on his side? For context, we're on day 2 of a beach vacation with our toddler. We're getting dinner on the boardwalk. We're seated at our table and nobody came to us for a good 15 minutes. Mind you, it's 9 p.m. and we have a ticking time bomb toddler. Both of us are itching to get in and out. Luckily, the place seemed pretty empty. Our server finally takes our drink and food order. At one point, she comes to the table to apologize to my husband. I accidentally charged you extra for your beer. There's a special running, so she should have used the special price of $2 difference. She asks, would you like me to fix it? We're stunned at her question. What customer wouldn't want the correct price? He jokingly asks for a free beer, to which she said, wish I could. They agree for her to change the price of his second beer to be $2 cheaper. Next, our food comes out. His is an entree with sides. Turns out his vegetables are ice cold. The entree was lukewarm, but I felt the veggies and they seemed to have come directly from the fridge. A shitty restaurant mistake, but a mistake. Vegetables. To summarize, our server, a young 20s-something female, has to hear him upset about the cold food. Multiple times he asks her, Feel the food. Feel it, to prove it's cold. It was fridge cold. I can see she's uncomfortable as he repeatedly says this. The food is cold. He's not paying for anything. He doesn't yell, but he's a large, tall man with a deep voice. If I were her, I might uncomfortable, threatened, or that there is the potential for escalation. Also, it was the kitchen's fault, not hers, that the vegetables are cold. I keep telling her she doesn't have to feel the vegetables. She offers him another meal and he says he doesn't want anything. He added a comment related to her asking if he wanted the $2 beer overcharge fixed. She could be new or she could be bad at her job. Am I the asshole for apologizing to her, saying we will pay for the rest and leave, and not agreeing with him we should get it all free? I was thoroughly embarrassed by his response. His demeanor was inappropriate and unwarranted for cold vegetables, bad service, wait time, and poor server practice, the wrong beer charge. I feel he lost all credibility when he continued to ask for it all free and came across angry and wasn't reading how upset the girl was. He wasn't mean or cussing, but he gave off angry vibes. Am I the asshole because I got the baby and told him we're leaving, and hurriedly walked away and left him to get the beach wagon while I just kept walking down the boardwalk? He caught up to me a few minutes later. Overall, I'm mad at his response and his demeanor because he made the poor girl cry, shame on him, and acted entitled. And he doesn't feel bad about it. He's mad I wasn't on his side, and I was too nice, telling them we'd pay for the rest and go. Should I have backed him? The restaurant was empty for a reason. Why would the waitress need to hear him say the food was cold multiple times? Why would she not immediately rectify the situation or get a manager? Did she just stare at him blankly? You are the asshole, I think, because according to you, he wasn't mean, he wasn't cussing, he wasn't yelling. He was frustrated by the poor service you were receiving. You are the asshole. It is perfectly reasonable to be upset about cold food, particularly on top of several other issues that absolutely were within the control of the server. You say yourself that your husband wasn't aggressive, didn't raise his voice, remained seated, etc. It is also pretty reasonable to expect some of your meal to be comped following a series of issues. He wasn't aggressive, he had very valid complaints, and the server can go and get the chef or manager if she feels unable to manage the situation. You are the asshole. 15 minutes to show up when it's empty is crazy. The beer charge is not that big a deal by itself, but you wait all that time, get overcharged, and then get food that ain't even ready. Yeah, I'd be annoyed. He's a large man with a deep voice, so he's never allowed to be upset. He didn't threaten her or yell, he was rightly upset. You are the asshole. You actually made it worse by contradicting his demands. Now you've put the girl between an argument. It would have been better to ask for a manager to give the girl an out and have someone more experienced handle the situation. But a place of business should provide better service than that, so I understand him being mad. Under no circumstances should delivered food be cold. If service was slow, the food may have sat in the window too long, which would have been on the server. You are the asshole. Could he have been nicer about it? But first you wait a long time in an empty restaurant, the she overcharges the beer, when food finally comes it's cold. He has right to be upset and you just ignored his feelings. She should have called manager over so he could handle the situation. But yeah, you may seem he was rude to her, but come on lady, that was so bad service. Did you also leave a tip to step extra on him?